When Emma told me she had booked a trip with her friends that overlapped with our wedding anniversary, I didn't know how to respond at first. She stood in the kitchen, eyes bright with excitement as she described the beach, the resort, and how it had been a last-minute deal they couldn't pass up. I smiled weakly and said, "That sounds great," even though something inside me sank a little. We had always celebrated our anniversary quietly. Dinner at our favorite restaurant, a walk by the river, and sometimes just a night at home watching old movies. It wasn't about extravagance, it was about time together. That night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, I wondered if maybe I was overreacting. People needed breaks. Life got busy. Maybe she just wanted to unwind. Still, I couldn't help but feel that our small tradition, one that meant the world to me, had somehow lost its value to her. It wasn't that she forgot, it was that she chose something else instead. In the days before her trip, I kept things normal. I helped her pack, reminded her to take sunscreen, and even drove her to the airport. She hugged me before leaving and said, "We'll celebrate when I get back, okay?" I nodded and told her to have fun. But inside, I was already planning something, not to make her feel guilty, but to make the day mean something again, even if she wasn't there to share it. When our anniversary morning arrived, the house was quiet. I made coffee, sat by the window, and thought about the last few years, the struggles, the laughter, and how we'd grown. I decided to take a day off work and drove to a small town about 2 hours away, one we had visited early in our marriage. It was where we had first talked seriously about our dreams and promised each other we'd never stop making time for moments that mattered. The town hadn't changed much. The same old bakery still stood at the corner, the same lake shimmered under the sunlight, and the same bench where we once sat was still there, worn and faded but familiar. I bought a slice of her favorite cake from the bakery, packed it in a small box, and walked to that bench. Sitting there, I lit a small candle, set the cake beside me, and whispered, "Happy anniversary, Emma." It was simple, quiet, and strangely comforting. For a while, I just sat there, watching families walk by, couples taking pictures, and children chasing birds. I realized that love isn't measured by shared dates or perfect plans. It's carried in the moments when no one is watching, when you choose to honor something even if the other person isn't there. I didn't feel angry anymore. I just felt peaceful, as if I had given the day its meaning back. Later that evening, as I drove home, I stopped by a small shop that sold handmade jewelry. I saw a delicate bracelet with tiny engraved waves, the same pattern Emma once admired during one of our trips. I bought it and left a small note inside the box that said, "For when you come home, our anniversary never moved." A few days later, Emma returned. She came through the door looking cheerful, tanned, and full of stories about her trip. But when she unpacked and found the bracelet box on her nightstand, I saw her expression change. She opened the note and stared at it for a long time. Then she turned to me with watery eyes and said softly, "You remembered." "I never forgot," I replied gently. "I just celebrated it differently this year." She put her hands over her mouth and shook her head slowly. "I thought you'd be upset," she said. "I didn't realize how much it meant to you." I smiled faintly. It wasn't about being upset. I just wanted to remind myself, and maybe you too, why we started celebrating in the first place. She came closer and hugged me tightly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to make it feel unimportant. I guess I got caught up in everything." I held her for a moment before saying, "It's okay. Sometimes we forget what matters until we see it from a little distance." That evening, she insisted on cooking dinner, our favorite meal, the one we always made together on our anniversaries. We sat by candlelight, laughed about old memories, and talked about how easy it was to let small traditions fade when life gets busy. She promised next year we'd do it right, not grand, not fancy, just together. Over the next few months, something shifted between us. We began paying more attention to the little things, morning walks, leaving small notes, or simply sharing quiet moments after long days. That uncelebrated anniversary had, in its own way, reminded us to never take time for granted. Sometimes love doesn't need confrontation to teach a lesson. Sometimes silence, gentle, patient silence, says more than words ever could. I didn't plan to make her feel guilty, and I never did. My quiet choice wasn't about proving a point. It was about preserving what mattered most to me without bitterness. Now, whenever that date comes around, we both remember it differently. She calls it our second beginning, and I suppose she's right. Because that one quiet decision to celebrate alone ended up being the moment we both truly understood what our marriage stood for. Not perfection, not constant excitement, but the steady grace of choosing each other again and again, even when life momentarily forgets to.